A stroll down Hong village. We saw the local culture but did not fully experience its charm. We visited Hong village in Ziro. One of the days we spent our time in Ziro was visiting the Hong village, accompanied by a very uninterested guide. Our travel operator had enlisted her services, and I do not believe she had any interest in being our guide, probably because we were not going shopping and there was no way she could earn any money from us. Tribes and languages in Arunachal Pradesh. During my last visit to Arunachal, I noticed that everyone spoke Hindi, which surprised me at the time. I learned then that the people of the 26 major tribes speak their tribal languages, and Hindi, along with English, has become their bridge language. The Monpa people live in Tawang, while the Apatani reside in Ziro. People told me that the school authorities have now started teaching Tibetan to young children in Tawang. Once upon a time, India was a global center of Persian speaking culture and literature. If the Chinese have their way, Tawang may become the last bastion of the Tibetan language in the coming years. Villages in Zero. Reaching Hong village. There are several villages in Zero, and I forget the actual number. Hong village is the largest, and the guide insisted that the village is the largest in Asia. I am unsure if her information is accurate. There is one main road in Zero, and if you are driving from Old Zero to Itanagar, you will see a gate on the left welcoming you to Hong village. After a 2 kilometer drive on a road flanked by green fields, you arrive at the village. Unlike many parts of North India, which have become dust bowls populated by rowdy drivers and starving cows, the fields here are green and healthy. Once, when we asked for directions while searching for Zero's second lake, a lady informed us that we could not go down a particular road because the sign clearly marked it as a one way street. The only car that attempted to drive the wrong way in Zero had a Delhi number plate. The incident proved my point that people in North India are often rowdy and tend to break rules. Flowers grew in one patch, and we noticed youngsters taking photographs of themselves. Happiness was in the air, even though the sky was overcast and we expected rain. The village differs from North Indian villages. The village itself was unlike anything I've seen in North India. Broken huts dominate the landscape in North Indian villages, and there are times when you see factories belching smoke. Here, you will spot traditional homes with a few modern buildings interspersed between them. The roads were in good condition, with a few small cars parked on the side of the road. Squawking chickens ran about in some of the narrow lanes. These are healthy chickens, tasty and full of flavor, and free from hormones and antibiotics. Eat them and you will stay healthy. Moreover, they run about freely and they appear happy. Some of their happy spirit must transfer itself to the reader, to the eater. Good positive energy, unlike the sad energy of broiler chicken, transfers to the person eating its meat. Free range chicken and stupid industrialists and scientists. Agronomists and corporate professionals congratulate themselves on improving animal productivity and staving off all Malthusian nightmares. Still, while we do not lack for calories, we do not eat healthy food, leading to hidden hunger and massive personal investments in useless supplements. I've sold vitamins and enzymes to companies that make supplements, and I know that most of them are unnecessary. Bear with me as I continue my digression. We produce enough food to feed the world, yet millions still die of starvation. Aggregated, Malthus may not have been proven correct, but when you drill deep into the data, you will conclude that his ghost is alive, well, and sneering at us. The religion and homes of the Apatani people. People here follow the Donyi Polo religion, with the white flags and red emblems of sun and moon fluttering on the rooftops. The Apatani people build their wooden houses on stilts, and the homes also feature a bamboo totem pillar that signifies the number of household members. Our guide assured us that the wooden homes last for many decades, but probably less than a century, unlike modern buildings which in India show their age after 2 decades. I also believe that architects do not design modern buildings to keep people comfortable inside, and neither are they climate friendly. Digressing into a discussion on pollution. Pollution has returned to Delhi NCR, and I can no longer open my windows on the cool mornings. Apart from the smog, DLF is constructing apartments and a mall right outside my home. The construction has been going on for 3 years, and dust has become a perennial companion. Afternoons are unpleasant, with internal humidity levels rising to unprecedented levels, which is ridiculous. Meanwhile, Delhi's politicians have been sending trucks to spray water on AQI machines to deliver low pollution readings. Stupid intelligence, as Albert Camus expresses it, rules the day. Meanwhile, as the post Diwali AQI in Delhi rose to 500, 600, 700, Zero's AQI remained at 8. Yes, you saw that number, 8. 8. EIGHT. The food and housing structure. The staple meats consumed in Zero are chicken and pork. I wanted to visit a local Apatani restaurant. Sadly, I decided against it because one of my group members is a vegetarian and did not wish to consume the boiled vegetables they offered him. The houses were fascinating. Traditional houses fascinate me, and I was eager to go inside and explore their interiors. I was immensely curious to explore the interior layout of the homes, but I was concerned about invading the residents' privacy. Tread carefully when visiting different lands, even if they are in your country. In a country as diverse as India, especially, the diversity of culture in India is astonishing. And even though my conversation at the lake informed me that the Arunachali people are animists, I could not h- wonder, I could not help but wonder if the Doni Polo religion that the Apatani people follow is a special kind of animistic belief. The sun and moon are natural symbols, and I found no evidence of idol worship. Westerners often sneered at us, accusing us of idol worship, but worshipping Jesus on a cross is a form of idol worship. Squat toilets and North Indian boorishness. I would like to discuss squat toilets and basic hygiene. While driving to Zero, we stopped at a restaurant for chai. The owner was also selling beer, and when we asked for the toilet, she pointed us to the back. She had placed a pair of slippers at the entrance to the bathroom for obvious reasons. After we completed our labor inside the toilet, a guilty thought crept into my brain and would not leave. None of us had taken our shoes off and worn the slippers before using the toilet. Our behavior was boorish and unthinking. Did we city slickers believe that we are superior to those people who live on the highway and that their etiquette did not apply to us? I did not dare answer the question because I am sure the answer would not boost my self esteem. Our behavior was typical of those who march unconcerned into someone else's home, disrespecting their way of life because we believe we know better and we think we are better. Our behavior proved otherwise. A young girl in the shop. While walking along the road, I spotted a shop. The young girl who ran the shop sat behind a caged window, and I walked up to her to buy mints. I recall visiting Manila's narrow lanes many years ago to make sales calls. Shopkeepers sat behind caged windows, and when I queried the reason, my Filipino colleagues told me that drunkards and louts often walk the lanes at night. The shopkeepers sat behind caged windows to protect themselves from the rowdies. I assume that no one used guns in those areas. The cages would not save the shopkeepers from guns. Why, however, did the young girl sit behind the cage window? I still don't have the answer. Second, she refused my 10 rupee coin, telling me that coins were not valid tender and insisted I use my mobile wallet. While thoughts about the future of physical money ran through my brain, creating chaos before the divine light of wisdom assured me that the future of physical cash is alive and well. Digressing into bribery. Try to imagine bribing a politician or a cop stroke official with a bank transfer or mobile phone payment system. Authorities track digital payments, making it easier for anyone to trace the source of the crime. Apart from catching both the person who gives the bribe and the person who accepts it, governments may require the recipient to pay income tax on the money received. If bribes become digitized, will the cost of bribery escalate? Will the recipient demanding bribes that include the income tax component? The future generation must continue this discussion in the coming decades. The Lapang, nose plugs, and patriarchy. Apatani villages have a large wooden platform called a Lapang, where villagers gather to discuss local affairs, conduct religious ceremonies, and I assume engage in socializing and gossip. However, the prohibition on women, especially menstruating women, sitting on the lapang indicates that the old age patriarchy is alive and well. Since I speak of patriarchy, I must describe the nose plug tradition that is peculiar to the Apatani tribe. According to traditional practices, women have wooden nose plugs called yapping hullo inserted into the sides of their nostrils. Villagers source the wood from the forest and sterilize it before inserting it into the nostrils. Additionally, women have vertical tattoo lines, tippe, on their faces. It appears that Apatani women were beautiful and men from neighboring tribes lusted after them. To keep them safe, the tribesmen began this tradition. Did the Apatani men force the women to make themselves look, in classical terms, ugly? Did Apatani men consider the women beautiful after the facial deformation? Again, I don't know. What I know is that many girls today refuse to adopt this custom, so the practice may die out in a few decades. Human zoos and converting people into spectator sport. The bigger problem that the Apatani women may face in the coming years is that when people from other parts of India visit Ziro, thanks to the Ziro Music Festival, they risk becoming a spectacle. I do not exaggerate. In the 19th and 20th century, the English and Americans loved gazing at caged humans. The human zoo was popular before the practice died out. My friend grabbed one of the ladies we encountered in the village. He accosted her, grabbed her, put his arm around her shoulder, and asked his friend to photograph the two of them. I photographed her quickly and noticed the discomfort on her face. She did not appreciate us treating her as a curiosity piece, and we were guilty once again of a transgression. The Myoko festival. We also noticed an abandoned platform in the village, a remnant of the Myoko festival that the villagers celebrate every year around March. This festival marks the beginning of the agricultural cycle. The festival symbolizes peace, prosperity, and tradition. During the festival, the Niibu, or local priest, conducts a ceremony to contact people's ancestors or maybe the ancestral spirit of the village. Zero has several villages, and every year, one village hosts people from the other villages who feed everyone, including Philistines like myself, who may visit Zero during the festival on a future day. Given the onslaught of social media, will the villagers be able to preserve these old traditions? Old traditions will yield to newer ones, but when people sell their soul to their mobile gadgets, will we continue to remember our ancestors? And further on, the stroll around The village was brief, and when we walked to the ground to attend the music festivals, it changed. Zero's weather can change rapidly, and the clouds gave way to blazing sunlight and humidity. I walked past the paddy fields and considered diving into the shallow waters to cool off. We met a bunch of bikers from Sikkim, and they were cool, polite dudes. How is it that people from this part of the country are so polite? I am North Indian or Northwest Indian, and North Indians often scare the living daylights out of me because they are, as a collective, rude. Once upon a time, people here preached politeness and good manners, insisting that people live a refined life within their means. Cynics will point out that the preceding statement applied only to royalty, nobility, and the rich, and they will be correct. Sadly, even within this lot, the concept of refinement exists only in memory. We must learn from our North Indian brethren.